Hi, welcome to the Wire Podcast, DOC's podcast about all things corrections in the state of Oklahoma. I'm Kay Thompson, your host, Chief of Public Relations for the agency. And today I have a very special guest, Director Justin Farris. Today we're filming this on October 1st, so this is his official first day as director. Thanks for joining me today.
Oh, you're welcome. Pleasure to be here.
Good, yeah. So I kind of want to, you've been around the agency for a while, obviously in multiple different...
Not that long. No.
Oh, sorry. But you've been in, different positions and stuff, but maybe not everybody knows you. So I just want to take a few minutes to ask you a few questions, have some conversation, just to let our staff to get to know you.
Absolutely.
So explain to me how you started with the agency and some of the positions that you've held.
Well, shortly after graduating college at Southeastern, I went to work at McAlford Correctional Center. So I started there in 1999 as a CO. So I stayed in uniform from 99 there till 2006. In 2006, I became an OCI sales representative for Southeastern Oklahoma. I was in there from 2006 to around 2010. I'd left the agency for a little bit. I returned back to the agency shortly after. Like a lot of people, if you leave this agency, you love it, you want to be back.
Absolutely.
I came back as the sales manager, and I'm a little unsure on the time, so I'd have to look at the dates on this, but I came back as a sales manager. I was the operations coordinator for OCI for partnerships for a short time. I went from there, and then in 2016, around December of 2016, I was the director of OCI. Enjoyed it, loved it. We grew. We had great success there. It was relaxing. Director Allball had left the agency in 2019. Scott Crow was tapped on the shoulder to move up. I really got an unexpected call. He said, "Would you consider being my chief of operations?" He said, "I need somebody that has facility experience, that understands budgeting." So I came over in 2019, and I really honestly didn't know what I was getting a hold of. It was a different agency at that point. We had a lot of violence. The employees were unhappy. Everybody was unhappy. We worked extremely hard on validating STGs in a different way, how to house people, the movements. So stayed in that role from 2019 to 2023 when Director Harp came in. Director Harp had asked, he said, "Would you move into a true number 2 position, which is the chief of staff?" Chief of staff was great because I was able to get out of the weeds a little bit, but touch any problem in the agency that him or anybody else deemed necessary at that point. So I was able to work with all the executive staff and really focus my time on what was wrong at that time. And so stayed in that role until, as we know, last month.
And you've been kind of performing some of the director duties since Director Harp announced. But like you said, you've been number 2. You've been working right beside him. What's one of the biggest successes maybe over recent years that you consider for the agency? Well,
successes over the recent years, we really focused on technology the last few years. And it's how do we apply technology to correctional settings? I think it was a great success, not just for us, because we were the test bed for the nation on a lot of these things. How do we use cameras in a different way? How do we use drones, not just for drone detection, but how can we utilize drones for the safety and security of our officers?
Right.
The AI, to actually overlay AI on a lot of our data. One thing about our agency, we have lots of policy and lots of data. Not that you can do anything with the data, because I couldn't take 100 humans 100 years to diagnose and get me something that I can make a data-driven decision with.
Sure.
AI does that in seconds. We've seen the fruits of that. We're towards the tail end of being able to release that. I see, in the near future, being able to look up a policy just by having almost like a Google engine, and you can ask it any questions. It'll send you the policies. And also, for programs, really to see what is the best matchup for cellmates. I mean, there's lots of applications for that. I think that's our biggest successes over the last few years. But we also have successes that we don't really count on. We've expanded our dog programs, which is for contraband detection, for investigations. We've made some great strides over there. Our business services team has is constantly under an audit from the outside. And it's just warranted. We're a large agency. We're always going to have an operation or a financial audit. We pass every one of those with flying colors. The way our officers have really helped us and got ideas and reimagined what our academy was, that's a huge success. So some of the things that I see as a huge success really aren't in the public eye, but it all goes back to our employees and how driven they are to make this a better place.
Well, you touch on the audits, and that really is about the employees, performing their job well, making sure that they're taking care of resources. So it may sound kind of boring, but it's a big deal for the agency.
Sure it is. And that's what I tell other agencies. I mean, I think we have the best employees in the country as a whole.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think they are very dedicated, and their ideas, are constantly rolling in. And we're seeing more and more of that. We're trying to do more thought groups. We do a few right now, but I want to hear those. I've said that at several occasions of how we can use their voices and their ideas. And I think you get those from the ground level, and they're the ones doing the work every day. We're not. We're not on the units. We're not counting anymore. I've done it, but it's been 20 years since I've done it.
Right.
It's a lot different job. They have a tougher job than I had. But they're the ones that I need to hear their ideas for the efficiencies for our next round of projects. So
Sure. And you talked about the violence reduction, and I have just gone through and got some of the stats for the agency overview book that we'll be disseminating shortly. It's impressive, like the downward trend. What do you think has contributed to that?
I think it's the officers. It's always the officers. Their de-escalation skills, using that, making sure the officers have the resources they need, but also housing, population. We're limiting lateral transfers now, making sure that these inmates are housed appropriately in the right spot with the right groups. I think that's meant a lot. Not locking down as much as we have, because the problem with a lockdown generally is letting them back up. That's your most dangerous time. So we've handled this in different ways, and I think we're seeing the fruits of that. But it's not something that we had a magic idea up here. It's our officers really doing their jobs and really owning it, and that is what the turnaround has been.
Yeah, it's great because, like you said, they are the backbone of the agency for sure. When you were an officer, and I've heard you say this, that you were We Change Lives before the vision that became our actual vision statement. What does We Change Lives mean to you?
What We Change Lives means to me is do the right thing. That is, it was when I started in 1999, I learned from older people like Bob Boone, and it was you treat inmates with respect. You treat them with respect. Some inmates don't allow that. You have to handle those in different ways.
Sure.
But if a guy is in there and he's having a bad day, let a little bit of that out. Let him vent a little bit. But we want these guys to self-correct and have some post-incarceration employment and be back with their families. That's our goal, no matter what. And really, We Change Lives is respect for your coworkers and respect for the ones under our care. That's what it is in a nutshell.
So moving forward, what are one, maybe two of your biggest priorities for the agency?
Well, one of the biggest priorities I have is to strengthen the safety and security for our officers. And by doing that, I am leaning on technology. As far as projects that I believe will do it, we're looking at some drones to constantly have overwatch over our facilities, so we can put a camera on a situation before I send officers into it. We have Fuchsias that is open up new ideas everywhere, because it's using the camera systems that we can expand and putting it on one pane of glass, one simple thing. So it's no longer a reactionary investigative tool, but it's a real-time tool that we'll know what we're sending officers into before we do it. So that is a major thing. Another major project I have going forward is tasers. I think the data shows such a drop in violence with tasers that it's amazing. Now, we'll probably do it with lieutenants up for the first couple of years and then move into everybody with tasers. But the data, I can't argue with that. Florida and Georgia, there was one other state that we were looking at. The inmate on officer and the inmate on inmate violence have both dropped, which is amazing.
Yeah.
One of the largest projects I want to see is tablets in officers' hands. That is a focus of mine from day one. It's going to be a push because we can use so many things off that.
Sure.
They can count. I mean, it's no longer taking a grease pen and a marker board and, going back to the computer for the reconciliation. It's doing it as you walk. So that's one thing it does. Also, we want to put the logbooks on there. And there's multiple things. I mean, if there's policies we want to see, we get it to the officer. If there's anything they need to look up, I mean, they'll have the ability to do that, and it'll be in a tablet in their hands. But also, as Fuchsia's grows and we expand, I want an officer, if he's on the south end of a bow tie and he needs to walk to the north end, he can click that and see all the cameras on the north end. Before he walks into count or anything else, he can see if there's what is going on in that unit before he walks in. So for me, the tablets opens up a new world. So that is a large project for us. It's going to be a multi-year project because I have to have access points. I don't have those at all places, but there are a couple right now, 2 or 3 facilities that have access points everywhere. We're going to run the test bed there, and then we'll move on into probably a 2 to 3 year project after that.
So we've been talking about facilities, but another 20,000 plus people in our care are probation and parole. So what are your ideas for P&P? So
my ideas for P&P, we triaged P&P. A lot of the issues were communication. We're working on that. Their line of reporting, we're making that easier so they understand. We're making the supervisors understand that, hey, there's communication all the way up to the top on this. They felt unheard. That was the biggest thing. I think we're in a better spot now. As far as equipment, one of the loudest things was they needed new weapons. We got that. We're working on vehicles. I think transportation vehicles, we did that. The next thing for them is body cams. We're looking at the options on body cams for them, but also they wanted radios. But where they're at, a lot of times it's not conducive for an 800 megahertz radio. What we're hearing is Axon is going to have an LTE body cam that services as a radio. Oh, wow. So we're working on that project for them right now. But back to communication, that's an issue that we have failed at the top of this agency for a long time. We felt about that in probation parole. We heard their voices loud and clear, but we've also failed on that at the facilities. I was speaking to staff just the other day, and we're going to make sure that the wardens understand the why of everything we do. But they're tasked with making sure that their employees all the way down to the corporal understands the why of what we do. It's a lot easier for them to understand, and they may not agree with it. But if you at least say, hey, we are doing this or not doing this, but here's why we're doing it, it's a lot easier than, hey, go do it because I told you. Those days are over with. We're not doing that anymore. We failed as an agency through that. I think not purposely. It's not like a plan. Nobody ever had a plan to do that. We just run at such a pace that it got lost. It was like a game of telephone. That's why these videos are going to be so important. I'm going to send some out to probation parole directly, some for the whole agency, some for just our COs. But it's just another avenue for them to hear what's going on. And so if there's a change, if there's a major change in anything we do in the operation, they need to know. They deserve to know. There's no secret sauce up here. So. Sure.
Well, and the boots on the ground, our frontline staff are the ones that are making the changes and dedicating, their careers and lives to changing Oklahoma. So they need to understand how they pour into our mission and our vision as well.
Well, nobody understands, everybody gets their work in 12 hours, but the sacrifice is they work hard. They deserve the answer of why we're doing something. They're the ones that are working, 12 hours, 5 days a week, and they're going home trying to be a father, a husband, and trying to make everything in their personal life better too. It's stressful. So what we can do to limit stress, explain why, don't let them be frustrated at work. Anything we do that can help them on their very important job, because we are the Department of Corrections. I said this the other day, we are the guy that's working a unit. We're the guy in the tower and perimeter on a transport. That's what we are. That's the core of what we do, and we can't forget that. So we have to pour all the resources we can into making their job better, easier, and more efficient. And that is going to be a huge focus of ours. And bringing that work-life balance, that's one thing. There's multiple ways to do that. Staffing is a problem. Like that's,
sure.
Staffing is an issue, but it's a national issue.
Right.
There's nobody entering the workforce at the speed they were in the late 90s, the 2000s. So we have to lean on technology as much as we can to fill that gap. We're constantly trying to hire, looking for new ways to recruit. I mean, our recruiting team, our academy is always out. I want the facilities themselves to recruit. I want them to see somebody in a grocery store and say it's a great place to work. That's the best recruiting tool we have. And that's what we have to lean back on. But I have to make it their job better for them to want to do that. I realize that. But staffing is a problem. It's been said. There's no doubt.
Right.
So we have to look at new ways to recruit.
So we've talked a lot about uniform staff, but a large percentage of our agency is also made up of non-uniform staff. So anywhere from food service to, as you mentioned, business services. We have OCI, agri-service workers. What do you see for them? How do you want to help support them as well?
Well, in many ways. So food service, we're going to go back out for another RFP on food service. It makes sense to outsource that. If the price isn't right or are there any obstacles, we're going to readdress that. But food service is one of the most important things we do. So we're going to have to fix what it is there. It's understaffing, it's preparations, it's training. We have to fix a lot of things in food service, but they're very valued employees. It's a major part of our operation. Our case managers and records officers, coaches, and canteen workers, and our warehouse workers, those are the backbone. They have done a lot of our security jobs have had to fill in. So when we talk about being shorthanded, they've had to do that. We were looking at multiple things to make their job easier, try to get them back in their core functions of their job. That's one of the focuses. But yes, they're also important. Corrections is a huge ecosystem, and all things have to function correctly for us. But yes, you talked about out of uniform. There's so many out of uniform. Our medical staff, it's so different by area. So they deal with different stresses,
right,
just like a facility does. So I think recognizing them is the first thing, but hearing what they need. I've spent a lot of time with case managers the last probably year or so. Theirs were mainly focused on Icon. I think we've addressed that, making sure they had Icon access, making sure they had a voice in Icon. I talked to Dr. Thomas the other day. I had 3 or 4 mention that they would like to see case manager training 1, 2, and 3. We had those years ago, but we had done away with them. So I know Dr. Thomas and her team are looking at how do we get a new case manager in and train them up to a 1, 2, or 3, or it could be a 2, however they want to do that, but making sure they have the appropriate training to enter the job.
Over the past year as well, you and former Director Harp had gone and visited each facility. I know you had a meeting with admin just to hear us out to talk about different things. Do you plan on continuing those type meetings?
I will go out to the facilities. I will talk to them, probably at even a faster pace than that. My style is a little bit different.
Sure.
I've been to, I think, 4 or 5 facilities already, and I'm in a jeans and a T-shirt when I go. I mean, that's me, heck, most days up here if I can get away with it. But I'm in jeans and a T-shirt, and I'm walking to each unit. I want to see them in their work area, in their environment, and it's more relaxed for them. I think having everybody together is great, but I don't have as many hands in the air questions or suggestions that way.
Sure.
I would rather, it takes a little more time. I think I spent maybe 3 or 4 hours at OSP the other day. Jim Hamilton, I was out there. It took 2 or 3 hours, maybe a little bit longer to walk around, but it's well worth it. I think I have better conversation. It's more of a one-on-one. Maybe there's 2 or 3 people around, but yeah, it's more of a one-on-one style conversation, and that's more my style.
So we've talked a lot about the agency, your vision for the agency, but let's talk about you a little bit. We did 5 voices training about a year or so ago. So what's your voice order?
Pioneer Creative.
Pioneer Creative. So that makes sense being in this role. Mm-hmm. Do you think that plays into being able to lead this agency? Oh,
I do too. Yes, I'm always looking for in the future. I've done that as a CO, always super optimistic, and I'm constantly 2 and 3 years out. So I think it's perfect for the agency.
Yeah, great. And then also, my favorite question, what are a couple fun facts about you?
Okay, well, the first one's going to amaze you. But I have a grandbaby, and I know you're thinking, how does somebody that young have a grandbaby?
Right.
But I have a grandbaby, and she is. I just can't get enough of her. So she is the cutest little thing. Smiles all the time. It's like being a dad all over again. So I'm enjoying that. I'm constantly getting FaceTimes and pictures and videos. So that has been very special over the last few months. So
awesome.
And another thing is I can pretty much name any 80s hair metal band by hearing one tune. And if anybody wants to challenge me on that, challenge accepted. I'm really good. Now, it's got to be 80s hair metal in that era. Okay. Like I'm not good at 70s or 60s and stuff like that. And pretty much movie quotes, if you name a movie quote, I'll tell you what movie it came from. So
maybe on our next video, you can give your favorite movie quote and see if people can guess the movie. How's that?
Absolutely. I may even do a tune of an 80s hair and see who can guess that.
So. All right. We'll put a poll up and let people try to figure it out.
That'd be fun.
All right. Do you have any final words for us?
No, I appreciate what everybody does. This is exciting for me. Every director gets to put their own lane into these things. And I think I'm going to look at this more of a holistic view. I mean, coming from this for so long, I know nobody is a correctional expert. I'm going to tell you that. Nobody's done it, but I know this agency well. I know the path to go for this agency. So this will be fun. I just need everybody's feedback and how I'm doing. I mean, I need honest feedback. How I'm doing, where you want to see, any ideas that they have. That's where we get our next project from, is from those great ideas. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us and talking. And thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.